guys, and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a book haul, which wasn't even going to do one because I get a lot of books and I disperse them throughout my house. So in order to do a book haul, I have to go find all the books. But I was like, okay, I know my spending is out of control. So let me actually get all the books that I bought in, I'm just doing July and August. Because if I went farther back, can't do that. That's too many books. So we're just doing July and August. And they're kind of mixed. Like I kind of like tried to separate them, but there's definitely some like mixed in there. It's bad. It's bad, guys. It's like almost 50 books. I think it's either right at 50 or like right under 50, which is, yeah. You know what? Let's just get started. So these books are an assortment of, bought from used bookstores, Pango Books. If you don't know what Pango Books is, maybe don't actually get it. It is addicting. I resell a bunch of the books that I either don't like or just didn't love on there, and then I turn around and spend the money that I made on more books. So Pango Books. We have a used bookstore here called the Book Rack, and it's really, really good. It's really good prices, and it's huge. Oh my gosh. Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, another small bookstore called Second Look Books. It's very small, but it's really cute, and there's every once in a while they get some really good stuff. I think there's a few things from Amazon. I try not to buy from Amazon. If you do, that's your choice. I just choose not to because sometimes the books can come kind of beat up, and I'm normally an in-person shopper. Like I definitely prefer in-person, so I tend to only buy online with Pango because it's used, so I don't mind that much. But let's get into the books. We're gonna start with Manga because I don't have like a lot, but it's there. So we're gonna start with Manga just because, get that out of the way. If you saw my August TBR, then you're probably going to recognize some of these books, or if you see any of my TBRs, you're probably going to recognize some of these books. So we're just going to go through some of them really quickly. I'm not really going to explain what they're about. First book is Kamisami Kiss, Volume 1, and it's just a cute rom-com where she takes over like a shrine, and she's a human, so she has to deal with all these monsters. And it's really cute. Volume 1. Currently, I don't know why this keeps happening. I keep picking Manga where Volume 1 is readily accessible, like it was at my local Barnes & Noble, and can't get the rest of the series. So luckily this says it's going to be restocked on Amazon, Right Stuff Anime, and Barnes & Noble all said restock at the end of the month. So I'm gonna hope that that is accurate or I'm gonna be stressed out because I finished this already and I really want the next one. The next manga that I got was Demon Slayer Volume 1. Like the previous one, this is a completed manga series. I only read completed right now because I'm too nervous about them stopping, like making it or going on hiatus. So Demon Slayer, all I know is that he's like, everyone calls him a little cinnamon roll, and his family is like killed by demons and his sister's turned into one, so he's trying to figure out what to do with that. I have not read this one yet. Hopefully I'll get to it in the next week. And of course, the one that everybody is talking about right now, and I had an absolute panic attack, so I bought the first volume of Monster and loved it. I already finished reading it. It is about a doctor who ends up saving a little boy's life, and the little boy turns out to be a serial killer. And that is the premise of this 9-volume series. And these are like the chunky ones. So these are considered called like the perfect editions. And I went to go with the second one. Yeah, couldn't find the second one anywhere. The closest one was in South Carolina, like 2 hours from my house. And I legitimately thought about driving there. But then my husband texted me and was like, oh, don't do that. He ended up buying me a whole set from Amazon. So there's, I guess it's like I think it's like a bookstore that is selling on Amazon. I think they're like in Oregon or something. And they had giant sets of them. So he ended up just ordering it, and because I love it, so I'm gonna end up reading it. I have not continued the series yet, so I'm really excited about that. So that is my kind of small manga haul. I'm trying to be careful about how much manga I buy because you can just like rip through it. So I could have piles of manga right now, and I'm just like, okay, hold your horses, read them slower, take your time. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to like read a manga, or read like a couple chapters of a manga, and then I'll read a couple chapters of like a thicker, like heavier book, so it slows down my manga reading. Anyway, let's continue on to the rest of the books. I am going to, I think this is the July pile. Like I said, there may be some August ones thrown in there. I try to keep track of it in like a journal of like what I buy when, so I know like what I should be spending and what I shouldn't be spending, which really doesn't do anything. So let's go through what I bought in July. So one of the first books that I bought in July is actually, it was for Summerween, but I ended up not getting it in time, and I realized that I really liked horror anthologies, so I ended up getting Tiny Nightmares, and it is kind of great. Like, I've read 3 or 4 like tiny stories, and they're like 3-page stories. But yeah, so I'm pretty excited about this. This has been fun to slowly work my way through, and I am excited to continue it. So the next book that I got, again, these are the beginning ones, are books that probably you guys have never heard of, but this is a cozy mystery series, and it's by Charlaine Harris, one of my favorite authors. She is the author of the True Blood series, which is funny because that is not one of my favorite series by her. I like her cozy mystery stories better. So if you want a cozy mystery writer, you should try out some of hers. They're really good. But this is called Shakespeare's Landlord, and it's the cozy mystery stories following a woman named Lily Bard. And as usual, she is in a very small community and murder takes place, blah, blah, blah. If you've read one cozy mystery, you can kind of guess what they're all about. But I love cozy mysteries. I normally put them between difficult books that I've read. So I'm excited to read those. Okay, moving on to more what I read like more of, and the first book is actually, I believe this was an Owlcrate edition, but it is Violet Made of Thorns. And if you didn't see my Owlcrate unboxing, or you don't follow unboxings, this was the Owlcrate book for, I believe, July. Again, I'm not sure. I tried my best to figure out the dates, but it is absolutely beautiful. I'm so excited about this one. It has to do with a girl who's like a prophet, and she prophesizes stuff obviously the royal family doesn't like, and stuff like that. So the next book that I got was actually from Pango, and I guess I'll talk about both books at the same time because I got it from the same seller, but I ended up buying The Royals Next Door and The Moonlight Child, and this is like a cute rom-com where she's like stalking the next door neighbors who are like royals or something like that. I'm sorry if my summaries aren't great because I haven't read most of these books, and most of the time I kind of buy books off of covers. Like, for instance, I could not tell you what this one is about. I know it has something to do with social services and foster children, no idea, but I love this cover, so I was like, you know what, it was like $2, so I'm gonna try it out. I love thrillers, so if this is any type of mystery thriller, I'll probably enjoy it. The next book I got, I'm not going to talk about because if you want to hear about it, I had it in my Summerween videos, but it is The Counselors. I really enjoyed this book. Very fun, would recommend. The next one I actually got during the Amazon Prime sale, and it is The Sea of Tranquility by Emily St. John Mandel. And it's funny because after I bought this one, I panicked and bought one of her other books, which is actually in the August pile. I'll get to that one because apparently something in this has to do with something in Station 11. So I was like, okay, let me just read Station 11 first, just in case. But anyway, this one is some type of weird fantasy book. I don't know. It looks really cool and everyone's talking about it. So of course I broke and bought it. The next book I got was a I love this author purchase, and it is The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston, and I absolutely love her Geekerella series. They're so much fun, and I actually have them sitting up there. I love those books. They're so cute. So all I know about this one is we're following a ghostwriter whose new editor is handsome, but she ends up seeing a ghost, and it's somebody that she knows. So I'm curious what like direction this is gonna take. I'm curious if this is gonna be like sad and she's gonna have to like, the romance is her and the ghost and she has to make the ghost move on. I don't know, but it's written by Ashley Poston, so I'm gonna read it. The next one that I read was a pick from the book rack, and it was one that I didn't know about, and it looks like it's an older book of the month, and it's called The Anomaly. And all I know is it was blurbed as if Indiana Jones lived in the X-Files era. So I mean, That's all I know about that. The Anomaly, X-Files, and Indiana Jones. I hope it lives up to that. The next book I got was, again, I believe it's the July Illumicrate, because I haven't gotten August Illumicrate. I'm just more worried that I'm picking out June box stuff, but it is The Drowned Woods, and lovely cover. The original cover I think is like a purple, but I don't know anything about this. I just know it's really pretty, and it came in one of my book boxes, and it's got some sort of water elemental powers going on in it, so I'm excited about this. And it's written by Emily Lloyd Jones, who wrote The Bone House, The Bone Houses, something like that. I have it upstairs somewhere. The next book was also another book I got from the used bookstore, The Book Rack, and it is The Mystery of Mrs. Christie. And all I know about this is that it is the story of, if you didn't know, Agatha Christie disappeared for like a week or something like that, or 2 weeks, and no one knows where she actually went. And this is like the where did she go book. Like, this is what she was actually doing, which if you watch Doctor Who, you know that Doctor Who already went over that, and we know exactly what happened. So this one is a funny purchase, and it is One of the Girls by Lucy Clark. I thought Lucy Clark was a different author than she is. I saw this on Pango, and I was like, oh my gosh, I know that author. I just read a book by her. I could not tell you the author I thought she was. I picked this up and I looked at it and I'm like, I don't know that author, do I? I don't think I know that author. But the funny thing is, the book sounds amazing, and I've heard a lot of people say it's really, really good. So I was like, okay, well, picked it up accidentally. Excited to get to it. The next book I got was a FOMO purchase, because it was a book of the month pick, but I didn't pick it up when it was a book of the month pick because I didn't think I was gonna like it. And then I saw it in the store, and then I saw it on Book Talk, and then I saw it on YouTube, and then I saw it every flippin' where, and everyone's saying how amazing it is. And it is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. Yeah, I ended up picking this up. I was not going to, but I let the peer pressure get the better of me in this situation. I have no idea if I'm gonna like it. It is a beautiful cover though. I absolutely love the cover. This kind of helped sell it. And it has something to do with like video games and creating video games, and I'm big into that kind of stuff, and so is my husband, so I don't know. All I've heard is it's an emotional ride, and it's really good, and I cannot help myself. The next book that I picked up, and again, not really gonna talk about it. I have a whole review of it, so I'm gonna put a whatever thing it's called if you want to go watch the review, but it's The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. I have a whole review for this. Not going to talk about it. It was a book of the month pick. Yeah, that's all I got. Okay, we are down to the last couple books for July. For July. I picked up an older book of the month, and it's The Killer Across the Table. I'm always in a huge true crime mood, but what especially put me, if you hear banging, my husband is playing a racing game upstairs, and he has like foot pedals, and he smacks them. He's gonna come through the ceiling one of these days, and I'm pretty sure he's like directly above me. So if you hear banging and weird noise, the dishwasher going, my husband's playing video games upstairs. So yeah, anyway, I'm a huge fan of Mindhunter, and this is like the authors unlocking the secrets of serial killers and predators with the FBI's original Mindhunters. So I was like, yeah, I gotta get this. I gotta get to the original too. I think the original is called like Mindhunter, so I need to get that one. I just haven't gotten around to it. And following along the true crime thing, I got Killers of the Flower's Moon, and it is Killers of the Flower Moon. Jeez, that was a hard one for some reason. And it's the Osage murders and the birth of the FBI, and I think it has to do with the Osage Indian Nation and stuff going on there. I'm not exactly sure, which is why I really wanted it, because I don't know this story, and I feel like it's going to be a really important true crime portion of history that I'm going to need to know. The next book that I got, unfortunately, I've already read, is What Souls Are Made Of. If you want to hear about that, I will be talking about it in my wrap-up that'll come out at the end of August, and I already did kind of talk about it in my August TBR, so if you want to hear anything more about it, go check out the August TBR. And oh man, this is also one that I picked up for book of the month in July, and it's called Firstborn. If you want to hear about this, you can go look at the July wrap-up, because I have nothing nice to say about this book. And the last book that I picked up in July, well, technically I think I picked it up at the beginning of July, but anyway, it's Lore Olympus Volume 2. If you want to hear more about it, obviously, again, July wrap-up is where it's at. I love these books. I love these graphic novels. I highly, 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 highly suggest picking up these graphic novels. If you haven't, they're Hades and Persephone retellings, and they're just done so well, and they're fantastic. Go pick them up. So that's the books that I've gotten my manga and July so far. And now we're gonna move on to August, and it has only been, what's today, the 14th? It's only been 14 days in August, and I have already done some major damage. And yeah, I'm also doing this so I can see how many books I've bought, like, in front of my face, so I can go, oh, I cannot buy books for the rest of this month, which is kind of my goal, is to not buy any more books this month. I highly doubt that's gonna happen. There are a few books that are coming out this week that I want. Anyway, let's get into the books that I bought in August, and we're gonna start with a doozy that I have no idea when I'm gonna read or if I will ever end up reading it. But it is House of Leaves. So this is a conglomeration of seeing other booktubers buy it and I've been wanting to buy this for a while now. I just never had the gumption to do it. But I saw Books with Lala really liked this, and then Katie Coulson just read it, and I'm just like, so I don't know. I don't know when or if I'm ever gonna get to this, but there it is. House of Leaves bought. It's gonna sit in my house somewhere for a while. On to lighter books. I bought Certain Dark Things by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. I have an interesting relationship with her books because I read Mexican Gothic first. Absolutely loved it. Then I read, shoot, what is it? Man, I don't remember what the book is called. It has to do with like Aztec gods, and I really didn't like that one. So now, and then I ended up buying a bunch of her other books that I haven't read, so I'm like, I probably should have like just bought one at a time, but I've got 3 books upstairs, well, this one included, that are by her and that I haven't read yet, and I'm just like, I just keep buying her books. I keep buying them. I don't know why. It's like a compulsion because I loved Mexican Gothic. But anyway, Certain Dark Things. I have high hopes for this one because it's like a dark neo-noir vampire story, and I read the first chapter just to kind of like see how I feel about it, and it's dense for such a small book, but it's very interesting and different. The next book that I already talked about, it is Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel, and I am trying to read it for August. Like I said, go look at that August TBR because I talk about these more in that. After that, I got The Hollow Place. Like I said again, I talk about this in my August TBR. I have not read it yet. I'm so behind on that August TBR. I'm so behind. But I also plan to read this in August. And some surprise pickups that I didn't know that I was going to buy because I'm not like his biggest fan is Stephen King. I am kind of deciding which one to read first. I joked with my dad because my dad's a Stephen King fan, and I was like, which one should I read first? I picked 2 books that I knew out of all of his books I would like, because I've never read a full-length novel by him. I've read The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon, and I loved it. I attempted it and got 20 pages in and then got rid of the book. So I got 2 books of his that I was like, okay, I think I'm more likely gonna like these. So I asked my dad. He said to start with The Shining, which was my more intimidating of the 2 picks. Misery sounded better, and it's shorter. So I think I'm gonna end up starting The Shining, and I may do a first time reading Stephen King book vlog, but we'll see. It's gonna take a lot out of me if I decide to do that. The next is again one that is on my August TBR, and it's called Final Cuts, and is a short story anthology, horror anthology, and it revolves around film. And I literally just read the first short story the other night, and it was really good. Like, I really enjoyed it. I've never heard of the author either, and I very, very much enjoyed it. And Stephen Graham Jones also has a short story in this, as well as Josh Mallerman and Garth Nix. So 3 authors that I like know decently well, especially Garth Nix. I know Garth Nix books a lot. I actually really like his stuff. So this one has been really good. If you want to hear more about it, August TBR. I feel like I'm a broken record, but again, a lot of these I bought at the very, very beginning of August to read in August. Next book that I got is actually a gift from my mom. My mom was here just this weekend, and she ended up, my mom's awesome. She got me Such a Quiet Place by Megan Miranda, who is a local author to North Carolina, so I've been really wanting her books, so I hadn't picked one up yet. I'm actually currently reading this with the bookmark that she made me. It's a fabric bookmark, and I love it. She put a tassel on it and everything, and it's so cute, and I love it. So I'm really excited to be reading this and that my mom got it for me. And the book follows a woman who lives in a very, very quiet neighborhood, and a person who used to live in the neighborhood just got released after her charges were dropped for murder. And she's now kind of wandering the neighborhood, and everyone's trying to figure out what's actually going on. And there's dark secrets lurking under the HOA and stuff. It's really fun. The next one is a book I actually finished, which is really exciting because, again, it's on my August TBR. So look out for so go to the August TBR if you want to know more about it, and look out for the August wrap-up. But it is Small Town Monsters. It is a story about a cult in this small town, and the family that gets wind of the cult are exorcists. It's really neat. It's really neat. She takes something I learned from the back is a lot of stuff was like inspired by true stories. So she has stuff from Jonestown and Nexium, the Chicago Ripper Crew, which I'd never heard of, Ed and Lorraine Warren, if you don't know, like the Conjuring movies. So she takes a bunch of inspiration from all that, and it's actually pretty good. So the next one that I got is a book that is like so important, and I didn't think I was gonna get to it in August, but I actually did already read it, and it's called Daughter of the Trolls. I literally can't talk about this book without getting emotional because it is written by a wheelchair-ridden author, and she actually does the artwork, right, or not artwork, but makeup looks for Owl Crate right now, and she does makeup and stuff for Unplugged Book Box as well. So Unplugged Book Box did this special edition of her book, and it's a short book, and it reads like a fairy tale, and it's a beautiful book. You can definitely tell like it's a debut author. Some of the writing can be a little choppy. Definitely gets like the writing gets better as the book goes on, but it's just, there's something very whimsical and magical, and it is so important because the main character is in a wheelchair, but it's due to a heart condition. So she does something very similar to what she has herself, and I learned a lot about that, like people who aren't in a wheelchair just because of their legs. So this is an important book. If you haven't picked it up, if you haven't read it, you need to. I'm gonna again talk about this more in my August wrap up, so look out for that. The next book was an impulse purchase, again at the book rack, and it is Lake Silence by Anne Bishop. I heard really good things about it, and it's kind of like supernatural, like it's small town murder but paranormal. So I kind of want to read this for August if I have time, but we'll see. This might get pushed back to September or October for Halloween. And the next purchase that I got is The Retreat by Sarah Peirce, because I just read The Sanatorium and had no idea it was, I think it's supposed to be a duology. I don't know, because originally I thought it was a standalone, and then they were like, surprise, second book. So I don't know. I think it's a duology, but if it's not, I'll read the next one. But this is the second book in The Sanatorium. We'll see when I get to it. The next book that I got was, see, this is what I mean. This was definitely a July book. This is definitely a July book, but this is The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy, and it is the special edition, Fairy Loot adult edition, and this is like You've Got Mail, what did they say? You've Got Mail meets House in the Cerulean Sea, so very excited about that one. We are down to the last couple of books. This was, again, I think this is a July book. This is The Darkening, and I think this was the Fairy Loot July book. Very pretty. I don't really know anything about it. I got it in my book box, and it's really pretty. And it's fantasy, so I'm gonna like it. And the last couple books that I got are my book of the month picks for August, and it is Small Angels, which, go to the August TBR for this explanation. I didn't know what I was talking about in that. I still don't know what I would be talking about, but it has to do with like haunted woods and weddings near the haunted woods and weird things happening. It's supposed to be like fantasy horror, I think. I don't know. I haven't read it yet. I am supposed to read it for August, so we'll see. A book that I've already read too is When We Were Bright and Beautiful. I have a review out for that. Go check that out. This was a wild ride of a book. Last, probably, I'm sure I missed some, but last book that I got for August so far is Daisy Darker, and it is next on my list to read after I finish Such a Quiet Place. So excited. Again, this is in my August TBR, and it is following a girl named Daisy Darker, and it's got like Agatha Christie and then There Were None vibes, where they all, like, her whole family goes to a secluded area and they start dying one by one. So this one I have very high hopes for, and I'm very excited about it. But that is the August pile. So one second while I put them all back up. Ta-da! So these are the books that I bought in July and August, and oh my gosh, it's bad. It's bad. It's bad. And I have a ton of reading to do. So I'm going to stop this video and get moving, because now I have anxiety just staring at these piles and the books behind them, because there's a bunch of books up there that I haven't read as well. So hope you enjoyed this haul. Let me know if you've bought any of these books, if you're excited about any of them, if you've read any of them and like them, if you think I should start with either Misery or The Shining first, because that's an important question that I still haven't decided on yet. So make sure you subscribe, comment. I'm gonna have a lot of book reviews probably for some of these books that I'm about to read. Probably Daisy Darker, Small Angels definitely, because like I said, I have no idea what it's about, so it's gonna be fun to review it after I'm done. But that's all I've got for you guys, and I will see you guys in the next video.